Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Homeschool Live with the Old Schoolhouse. My name is Christine, your host, and joining me today is Nadim from CTCMath. Welcome, Nadim. Thanks for being here today.
Hey, Christine, great to be with you guys.
And so we are talking about a very interesting topic today. We are talking about the influence of AI, and many of you have probably come across very many articles and blog posts and podcasts that talk about the emergence of AI. And so, Nadine, we want to just dive in to see what that means for us homeschoolers and how it applies to education on the whole. But of course, since it's CTC math, we want to see how that implies or what that implies for us as homeschoolers and math education. So tell us a little bit about what you think.
That was wonderful. Well, I guess in the same way that we interact with AI through ChatGPT, there's lots of tutor bots out there where you can interact with a tutor bot, and this tutor bot can sometimes assist your child, can also sometimes hinder your child, right?
Mhm.
One big thing about AI is that we don't want to outsource our kids' thinking.
True.
We don't we don't want them to lose that creativity, right? But there are some really practical applications of how we can use AI to
Mhm.
improve student outcomes. And some clever ways that AI can work in the background is using smart algorithms to adapt lessons in real time
Okay.
based on how a student's performing, or remove guesswork for parents by identifying gaps and suggesting next steps automatically. And I guess AI in in general in the area of math is it can be treated like a virtual math tutor. And like all math tutors, can have some really, really good ones and some really, really poor ones. So that's a bit of a summary.
Yeah, and it's interesting because my son, who's now 13, he was having problems with one of his math questions one day and decided to jump on ChatGPT and ask the question, um, and it spat out a whole list of things. Okay, so you got to do this and all the steps and everything, and this was the answer. But when we looked at the answer, and
It was wrong.
I don't let them do that often, but we looked at the answer and that was not the answer. And so I had to sit down, which is totally fine. I'm totally good with that, to sit down and work it out with him next to me and show him how the right answer was supposed to happen. But to the danger of fully trusting something like ChatGPT, because there's others, ChatGPT is just one of them. Um, but you can't always rely on that to give you the right answer. And then again, to really explain, like you're it's actually taking away from the whole teaching aspect of it and showing the steps, because math is all about the steps. You can get the right answer, but if you don't work out the right way to get there, you could totally trip yourself up.
Yeah, and you've identified really two big problems or key issues. Number one is that it can give you the wrong answer.
Yeah.
And there's been countless examples of that. My biggest concern with that is how confident it is when it gives you the wrong answer. I have never met anyone or anything so confident in giving a wrong answer. So that always that can certainly throw people off. But the second thing I think speaks to the problem a little bit more because AI is only going to develop and get better, right? But the second problem is the heart of the problem, I think, and that is that, and in a very simplistic and practical way, if a solution is spat out for a child, they understand how to get from line one to line two to line three, and line three to line four, which is the final answer. And they'll understand. But then remove that solution away, give them the question again. They may not know how to get from line one to line four, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Hmm.
And the real test is actually getting to repeat a problem.
Yes.
And 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 to have a go at it again. Again, we don't want to outsource our kids' thinking.
Yeah. And this is one of the things that we have, or I have as a parent, I have enjoyed with CTC Math is that concept of mastering an area of calculating and figuring out the ways how to solve a problem. So you're not just, okay, I got the answer, I got this, question 5 right, and I can move on. Because question 5 can come back as question 10 later on, and wait, how because it's different variables, different wording, but it's the same thing. But because you didn't practice this, and you just got your answer, from ChatGPT or some quick way that not to bash AI completely, but it's so good to need to really learn how to master these concepts.
Agreed. And I should start by saying we've been using AI in our program for a couple of years now,
For
for
sure.
some time, even more. Yeah. And so the questions are adaptive in CTC Math. They change in difficulty level based on a student's response. That's AI technology. A textbook is static. You can't change the print on paper. But uh, when it starts to be used and student outcomes are not being improved, that's the problem. And identifying what tools and what ways we can incorporate AI into education to ensure that we're still improving student outcomes.
And so one of the questions along those lines was, how does AI personalize math instruction in a way that traditional methods can't? So you've just mentioned, how you've been using that. So tell us a little bit more about how that comparison works.
Yeah. So if a child is here, ability wise, but the textbook or the question level is here, what tends to happen is the textbook question difficulty level gets harder and harder, but there's a gap and the kids never reach that gap. So the gap gets bigger and bigger and they lose confidence.
Yes.
So what AI might do is and CTC math certainly, is that it will identify that there's a gap, meet the child where they're at and bring them up.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that, and that, and of course, producing as well reporting tools and diagnostics to identify these areas is also something that occurs. We're working on a really cool new and improved placement test that incorporates AI and technology. We always thought that it is difficult to fully assess a child online with one placement test or one test that takes 30 or 40 minutes. And we needed a series of tests to identify those gaps to do it well because math is a foundation. But now with AI, that barrier has been significantly reduced. Um, and another thing that is also worth considering is the immediate feedback and worked
Yes.
solutions that come after completing a question. So with CTC Math, once you complete a question, you have the ability to see that working out, and that working out is fleshed out for you. Um,
Yeah, it's very important for that immediate feedback because especially with math, you want to know that you got it right because you can't move on until you get that right. So trying to struggle through it and not knowing, why you got it wrong or what you missed, it's really important to have that immediate feedback. So that's really great. And I'm excited that there's more options for the placement because there's those gaps are very real and exactly what you said, the confidence level just drops. It's almost guaranteed at a certain level. Some, whether it's long division or that's one of our favorite things to tackle lately, but you really lose hope in trying to teach it when you're not really sure how to do that. And so I'm thankful for programs like CTC Math that can help you bridge those gaps. So, and we talked about just students who learn just like everybody else, but we do have students that think a little bit differently, learn a little bit differently. Can you talk a little bit about that and how this kind of helps in that area as well.
Yes, for sure. Well, learning at your own pace is key, and that's a key part of homeschooling, right? We really want to learn at our own pace, and we really want to meet a child where they're at and build confidence. Now, a child might be doing really, really well. We don't want to hold them back. We don't want to
Hmm.
limit that child.
Of
So
course.
at CTC Math, for example, we give you access to all lessons from all grade levels. They can progress at their own pace. And at the same time, if they're struggling, we bring them back to a level of where they're at and build them up an inclined plane, helping them with their confidence. No one likes to do anything that they don't understand, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so that flexible pacing is very important, and the ability to revisit concepts without feeling rushed is equally
Yes.
important. Um, I would also say that the visual and interactive elements keep students engaged and focused, especially for challenging problems. And with the emergence of AI, that has become better and better. That has become new and
Hmm.
improved. That is easier, I should say, to create engaging content.
That's great. And because students learn differently, the having the visuals, I know for both my boys, just when they see a text, because we started out homeschooling with all of the basic textbooks, the big fat textbooks with all the writing. And as they got older, all of that got bigger and bigger and longer, and they would get overwhelmed with just all of this text and oh, I have to read all this and then they have to, do calculations in their head. And so it was almost, well, it just they were so welcoming to the visuals and the excitement of doing it more interactively through CTC Math. Just even the little fireworks at the end, just, it was encouraging to let them keep going and want to do more, even though it was getting more challenging as the grades went on. And but the platform was just easy to adapt. And both of my boys, they learn differently. And so it wasn't, because it worked for my older one, it's going to work for my younger one, because in other subjects it's not the case. Sometimes I have to scramble and find new material, but with something like CTC Math, it was good for everybody, and easy for me. So I am, like, once again thankful for that. And so, what about gifted learners, ones that need that extra challenge because they master quite quickly.
Yeah. And we we've got what's called a mastery system,
Hmm.
and all our questions can be put into four baskets: easy, medium, difficult, and challenging. And
Okay.
for the gift and for the gifted learners, it's all about getting to the difficult and challenging questions sooner.
Hmm.
We like to call this speed to practice. You know, speed to practice, getting to those practice questions as quickly as possible. We reduce that time. So if you take a traditional 45-minute lesson, some might give a 35-minute explanation and only 10 minutes of practice.
Mm,
That could be long drawn out, and sometimes we think the longer the explanation, the better it is. But sometimes it can often lead to being the more complicated
it's true.
and overstimulating as well as confusing. But what you really want to do is a short, sharp explanation that's really well done.
Yes.
Short, sharp, to the point, that gets to the problem, masters the concept, and then you jump straight into those problems, those questions. And
Okay.
then at that point, depending on the student's ability, is where they'll end up. And if they're a gifted learner, you don't want the board doing questions over and over and over that they already know. And, I know this is boring. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
You want them to be challenged at the right time, the right question at the right time.
And so with the use of AI, this is something that they can look forward to for assistance in achieving that.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
great. That's great. And so overall, what would be your advice that you would give to all of us homeschooling parents that are looking for just something more in to use something that has AI more confidently. Um, for those of us who are a little bit wary of AI created curriculum, because it's not just CTC math, it's everywhere, and we're not going to be able to avoid it. It's everywhere. So what can we do to confidently and very smartly use these kinds of things that are you assisted, I should say, with AI?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think start small. I think try one or two maybe AI-powered tools, particularly for a subject that you might find your child might find challenging or difficult, because this is a great way to assess whether it's actually helping or not, right?
Yes, that's true.
So if it's a subject where they're finding difficulty, it's easier to assess that. Um, you also look for programs that still give you full control, and that you're getting some really clear reporting. In other words, you're still in the driver's seat.
Mhm.
You want to find something that gives you all the tools that are necessary to help your child, and you pick and choose the tools.
Yes, and
That,
that's what I liked about CTC Math as well, that you do have that control. And can you tell us a little bit more about the reporting and all of that? I don't think we've
yeah,
covered, so that would be great to
specific,
cover. Yeah.
specific to CTC math.
So, yes, please.
Yeah, no worries. So we have various reports. So for instance, when you do a diagnostic test, it will produce a report and outline any lessons within a particular topic that your child might be struggling with. We've also got the detailed log report, which shows lesson by lesson their first attempt, their highest attempt. When they passed, you of course set the pass mark, and that's a great aggregate of all their results. And then we take that and we have a one-page summary. So if you want to see how they've gone on a particular grade level, so say they're in fourth grade math, you want to see how many lessons they've completed, their course average. And
Mhm.
sometimes parents need to turn in material, and this is a fantastic resource for that.
Oh, nice. That's
But
great.
and then every set of questions that they complete, you can actually go back, recall those questions, recall those answers, see which ones they got right and wrong. And again, there are a lot of reports, right? You might not need them all. You
Right.
may have to focus on the summary report or the detailed report. Um, so you pick and choose the tools, but making sure that the tool that you want is there. It's in the kit bag.
Perfect.
That's super important.
I love that. I love that. I think for me, I would want everything. But I do remember getting the summary reports. I think every week. I think we would get it every week. And then that kind of kept me on track to check in with them to say, hey, you didn't do, you should have done, XYZ this week and you didn't. So that was very helpful for me. Um, and so is there anything that you are working on now through that's coming soon to CTC Math
Yeah,
that you can
there's
share?
lots.
There might be some.
There's lots of things, but I will say, and there's things that we've developed in AI and not released it because we've gone, this is not going to help the child.
Right. That's
This is
smart.
not going to, that's ultimately not going to help the child. So we're developing a lot of things. We're constantly working with AI, our developers. It's an ever-changing space. It's going at a very rapid rate. Um, and one thing that's definitely will be coming very soon is the placement test, the more automated placement
Yes.
test. So
Yeah.
adjusting the way that we do the placement test, but also more uh, further recommendations. So a tool that will make recommendations, and it's up to the child and the parent whether you take on those recommendations or not. So
Okay. So are those like
that's also
for the gap? Is that for the, maybe the gaps that they feel like they're learning, or is that,
correct.
yeah?
Yes. Or Another way that it can be practically used is we have the course planner where it takes all the lessons and schedules them for the upcoming school year.
Okay.
Well, we can we are going a step further with that, and it's a bit more of a done for you course planner adapted to the child's needs.
Wow.
So we'll schedule lessons based on their needs and recommendations and some inputs that you put in, such as when are your holidays, how many days a week do you want to do math, what days do you want to do it, um, are there any concepts that you just don't want to do, or any extra concepts that we recommend these from a previous grade level, do you want to include them, things like that.
Awesome. And so are parents able, if they're not currently with CTC Math, are they able to see um and maybe an example of a placement test or just something that what they would uh look to receive once they become a member?
Yeah, well, we have a free trial. It's if you go to ctcmath.com, there's a free trial in the top right hand corner. Also, there's a need help button, and that shows videos on all our features and how they work. But
Perfect.
finally, I would say that CTC Math comes with a 12-month money back guarantee, no questions asked. So if it doesn't work for you and your family, just send us an email and we'll refund your entire payment.
Well, personal experience, I never needed the refund. So you all of you who are listening and you are curious about CTC Math, definitely give it the try. You can't go wrong with the free trial, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna hop in because it's a really great resource. And I'm a little bit biased because we have used it, and we saw very great results from it, and so I encourage you all to check it out. We will put the link in the comments for you to reach out and see more information. Nadim, is there anything that you would like to share as a final word before we sign off?
Really appreciate your time, really appreciating the homeschooling community. I love when parents embrace that they are the primary educators of their children. So keep that up. If there's any way we can support you at CTC Math, anything that you need, we're here to help.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, Nadim, and thank you all for watching today. And we'll see you again for another Homeschool Live. Bye for now.
Bye.